while trying to decide what another extract to read about my novel, and I remembered an incident that I had put into another novel. I liked writing about how the changes have taken place in Irish society over the decades, really, more than years. And in a piece I was doing in another novel, which is basically autobiographical, and both a brother and a sister, I remembered writing. It's strange, really, because I wrote this some years ago, and it was like I was writing pieces of myself, releasing subconscious thoughts and fears and hurts, etc. And I was writing about how John, the brother, had been bullied when he was about 17, and that reminded me of how that happened to me. I won't say I had a more difficult childhood than other people. My father was Catholic, my mother Protestant. He was away during the war, so I lived with my Protestant relations. And so therefore, being brought up a Catholic, I was sort of between two worlds, and that was difficult for a child. But I began to become confident. Oh no, the worst thing, happened, I should say, was when I was in kindergarten and I did something wrong. And the teacher, would you believe it, put a big sign on the back, a piece of cardboard maybe, saying, he is a dunce, or I am a dunce. I can't remember the words obviously. And I was forced to walk up and down the long Monkstown Road, which was very straight. And that absolutely, you can imagine the effect that had on me. And I was beginning to regain some consciousness and, shall we say, self-respect as the years passed. And I, unfortunately, in school, there was one fellow student, schoolboy, who had polio, obviously, when he was young, and had a lift on his shoe. And he took, for some reason or other, I don't know why, dislike for me. And he organized some boys from a nearby, shall we say, rather rough school, and they'd wait outside the school every evening when I left. And I don't really remember. I mean, that must have been traumatic. And, I couldn't fight them. There were too many of them. But a year or so later, I really found myself again. Well, maybe it wasn't a year or two. It doesn't matter. In dancing, and my then girlfriend and I were terrific dancers. I always have been. And we won prizes in an academy in Dunleary. And all that fell apart when I came out one evening and there where the guys were. And that's really what stuck in my mind. And the effects of that, I've been thinking about it. God, Lord, look at all those decades later, how that affected my life in various ways. Being hated parties, for example, was very distrustful of crowds and such. And it's only through professional help to a certain degree and to a lot of meditation that I began to lose that fear. And what I'm really trying to say is maybe there are some people who are watching this have had similar experiences, because when we have them, we bury them into our subconscious because we really don't want to face them. So we hide them away. And until we actually bring them to the surface and face them and say, oh yeah, this is what happened. Now, it's not easy, not at all easy, but when you sort of look at them, it's like peeling an onion, slowly, skin by skin, until you get to the core. And so I'm just saying, if one finds that there is something like that, probably there's nothing to be ashamed of. It's just life. And life has to be dealt with in as best we can. So, as I say, I'm just saying this is a bit of advice and hopefully some sort of help to somebody. Anyway, take care. Bye.